All right, folks, I'm just going to read this, and then we'll have some conclusions about it. Item from the Chicago Tribune. Governments in two countries, Myanmar and China, face allegations of persecuting minority Muslim populations. In Myanmar, military leaders of the Buddhist-majority nation consider Rohingya Muslims to be interlopers and enemies. Brutal attacks by security forces on Rohingya villages last year amounted to ethnic cleansing and could meet the definition of genocide, according to the United Nations investigators. A new UN report describes mass killings, the destruction of villages, and gang rapes of Rohingya women and children, crimes that were shocking for their horrifying nature and ubiquity. The UN report says the death toll could exceed 10,000. In China, the communist government views with suspicion the Muslim Uighur population concentrated in the far west. Officials tightly control religious practice and show no tolerance for political dissent. A crackdown on Uighurs underway since 2017 has developed into a campaign of mass arrests. There are as many as 1 million people in detention, according to UN officials. Yes, 1 million people. Chinese authorities have created, quote, something that resembles a massive internment camp that's shrouded in secrecy, said Gay McDougall, a member of the UN Committee on Elimination of Racial Discrimination. Unquote. My friends, I will guarantee you two things. Number one, officials in Myanmar and China would have a hell of a lot easier time if they simply moved the Muslims out of their countries rather than shackling them and putting them in internment camps, maltreating them. And by the way, there's no excuse for mistreating men, women, and children. Number two, I will guarantee you that Myanmar and China do not have a Muslim problem. They don't have Muslims stabbing people on the streets, blowing things up, plotting insurrection, infiltrating their government to try and gain control down the road. Now, let's be clear. If there are gang rapes of women and children, absolutely disgusting, the people who are committing them should be arrested instantly. But as far as controlling Muslims, as far as silencing Muslims, as far as letting Muslims know that there is no room for jihad in their country, well, I wish we had a little bit of that here in America, and in Europe, and in Israel, because in all three places, Muslims are like an invidious virus in the system that eventually will kill the host, unless the host gets rid of it. Myanmar, China, they don't fool around. We can quibble about the details, but they have taken on the challenge of Islam head on, and they intend to win. And you got to respect that. It's Thursday. It's real truth. I'll be right back.
There.
By the way, the show is called Real Truth. I am called Howard Riell. I didn't mention it on the last segment. Glad you're with me on this Thursday. Michelle Malkin was on Fox and Friends recently, and she asked a very basic question. Is America a nation of laws or outlaws? Here's how it went.
Michelle, well, she came out with a book called Invasion.
All right, I don't want to hear about that. We're about to go to a commercial break. Folks, you've been around long enough to know when you are guilty of something, the best defense is to accuse your accuser of the exact same thing. So all the things, all the disgusting acts that the Democrats and the liberals in this country are guilty of, that's what they say Republicans are, deplorables are, Donald Trump is. But you'd have to have a low-grade fever level IQ, which a lot of Democrat voters do, to believe what they're saying. They're clear and open lies. Don't fall for their garbage. And don't watch Jim Acosta on CNN. We'll be back.
For Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is at the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 15. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessing of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution. We know our kids will be a presidency. We want to applaud the efforts to use that assurance. They provide examples that appear to be the best expertise that promoted to the blocker class located at 366 serving our area. 1943, specializing in naturalized PhD and full and complete the process. All three over 688, 2047, 368, 2047. Total concrete service, long class. The 9.9 of our military dedication themselves to serving our country. Their commitment encourages people to country safe and strong. Let us honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Salute those who serve today. This reminder from Total Concrete First that 4462 South Road Long, proud to serve the entire area and to work on behalf of our future. For more information, call 970-535-2780.
All right, folks, welcome back to Real Truth. Howard Real still behind the microphone. We've got elections coming up in November. They are critically important. I believe that there are not enough stupid Americans to generate a blue wave. In fact, I believe there's going to be a red wave. Republicans are going to sweep across the country because it only makes sense. And I'm hoping there are enough Americans who can think clearly and well and realize that I'm not alone. Here's Newt Gingrich.
Bill, it's great to talk to you. How are you doing today? I'm doing great, and I'm actually pretty optimistic that this thing is going to work out this well. Partly because we're used to the best economy in most of our countries. I think if we go back to Neil Armstrong in 1960, what it seems like working in the workplace. We have, and I share much of your frustration about specific growth, but I don't know what Mitch McConnell's doing on judges. Oh, it's great on that. And it's absolutely historic. And in terms of constitutional balance, we will go home this year, and McConnell just announced he's keeping the Senate in the rest of October, which keeps these major Democrats really trapped in Washington instead of going on the campaign. But there's a bigger case with the Obama president's nominees for judges through before the election. That will literally reshape about 1/4 of all the laws in the first 2 years. So Mitch is going to keep them all in session. That came out yesterday. He's going to keep them all in session through October. And of course, Republicans only have really a handful of Senate that are close. But the Democrats, I think, have like 30 that are really, they're being contested. So that's actually, it's a smart strategy. You like that strategy? I'm not so good. Every single one of those votes, the Kavanaugh vote, I think, is putting enormous pressure on the Senate government. How you care how much Virginia Republicans won by 26 percentage points. You really vote no in China. If you vote yes, you really regret this. So you see a lot of Democrats now with huge problems in the Senate because they can't deal with Trump's values, they can't deal with people back now. And that's part of why there will be kind of a revolt over the Senate, where they're certainly against that. But if they were to vote for the legislature, they can prevail their vote for the legislature in 2011. I don't know how Republicans can win a landslide on that. This trial, election night this fall, could be the biggest shock Never had
Excuse me, Laura. That's because, as hard as some people may still find it to believe, the Bushes and the Obamas and the Clintons are all on the same team. Yes, they're like the AFC and the NFC, but they belong to the same league. They are the establishment. They are the swamp. Two different sides of the swamp, but swamp nonetheless. That's why the Bushes wouldn't open their mouths while Barack Obama was eviscerating the United States.
Establishment. And I see themselves in some ways as Christian instead to the president of Obama. Again, we're not like Trump is very exceptional about Bush's policies. Very fundamental. This is
It's such an important lesson to learn, my friends. The Obamas and the Bushes are the same people, the same swamp. You want to view it in religious terms? God has sent us someone who is draining that swamp. He really is. That's why the swamp is fighting back 24 hours a day, 365 days a year on every media outlet that they control. For every politician that they own, they are fighting tooth and nail because they know it's for survival. Our job as voters is to help drive that stake through the heart of the swamp. Kill it once and for all, and take our country back. Item from the American Mirror. The federal government, U.S. Supreme Court, and lawyers across the country use the word illegal alien to describe immigrants who illegally enter the country because that's the definition in the law. But Twitter makes its own laws, and the social media giant is now blocking folks from promoting any messages with the phrase, which its moderators apparently consider to be, quote, hate speech, unquote. My friends, Twitter is one of those companies that wants borders down, no wall, destroy ICE, bring in illegal aliens. That's what they want. And if it destroys America, it's okay with them because Twitter is bigger than America. Twitter is all over the world. America could be burning and Twitter would still be profitable. So what do you say we shut down Twitter and we make America great again? We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Earth. How many times have you gone into a health food store and confused many different brands and prices of the same herbal supplements? You want to buy the cheapest, but you're afraid that quality is less, so you buy the most expensive. Truth is, the cheapest may be better. Green Earth herbal supplements are all manufactured in our Wheat Ridge, Colorado plant at 4565 Tiffin Street using the highest quality herb that we source from all over the world. Our 150 different herbal supplements are the most potent and safest in America. Our guarantee is your money back, no time limit. Just return the bottle empty or full, no questions asked. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, Eugenesis Health, or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372.
You do not believe in every spirit, but test the spirit. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have already heard is coming, and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
We hope these truths to be self-evident. Not all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That the security of right. Governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the American News Network.
Chaplain Collinsville oversees our emergency first responders with a professional information free. They're willing to put their lives on the line for us with little or no thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chaplain Collinsville LLC, with 2 locations in Denver and Fort Collins, serving the community for over 13 years. This is an online at chaplaincollins.com.
If catastrophe struck when your family needs repairs, are you confident when you react in a panic? Is there one place to get all of your emergency supplies? Barrett Survival encourages you to have confidence through preparation, not panic through crisis. Barrett Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, realistic preparedness supplies at an affordable price. Go online, stop by, or call 303-781-0343. Barrett Survival.
All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. Former Governor Mike Huckabee recently had my former guest, Brigitte Gabriel, on the show to talk about defending Judeo-Christian values. That's always been a major project of mine. Let's hear what they had to say.
It's how Judeo-Christian
My friends, it is so important. Stop right there. So important. Brigitte Gabriel is not a white male. She herself is an immigrant. And yet she says exactly what I say, and what so many people say, that we're importing third world culture, which is on a far lower level. It has nothing whatsoever to do with race. It has to do with culture. We're bringing in people who are used to, as she says, defecating in the streets. Where they come from, it's not a big deal. Where I come from, it's a big deal. And I don't want my politicians saying, it's okay, go ahead. Because it's not okay. It's the way animals act. You know, when I walk my dog and it defecates in the street, I clean it up and nobody sees it. It's gone. When these people do it, no one cleans it up and it stays there. And it brings the level of life in this country down. It brings our culture down to theirs. I'm not against immigration. Bring in immigrants, but make sure that when they come, they have something to offer America aside from a handout at the welfare office. We'll be back.
The United States, in order to form a more perfect union, his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. The American Freedom Network is not funded or supported by special secret or government programs. The American Freedom Network is not sponsored by advertisers demanding content or programming control. The American Freedom Network is solely funded by you, the listeners. Please help keep the American Freedom Network on the air by purchasing one of our sponsors' fine products or by calling 1-800-205-6245 to make a donation. The American Freedom Network needs your help. American Women's Day Incorporated strikes out the mindset. Keep an eye on your child while child superintendent trigger to come along. This poses an opportunity for a would-be offender. Please make every effort to keep track of your little ones at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Women's Day Incorporated right now. For residential or commercial women's day, call 303-263-4228.
Folks, Laura Ingraham, the Ingraham Angle on Fox News, talking about the American left. She calls it the new American left. And she points out that they are the agents of hatred in this country. Now, if you feel there's not enough hatred in America and you want more, then go ahead and vote Democrat. But if you have half a brain, you'll do everything in your power to make sure Democrats never get elected to public office. Here's Laura Ingraham.
In the wake of their humiliating defeat in 2016, and after Trump had called them all out for their disastrous policies, Democrats and their celebrity boosters were seething. Just 24 hours after the inauguration, this was their message.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House. We are here to be nasty. Nasty.
Over the next months and years, we will be called upon to intensify our demands for social justice, to become more militant in our defense of vulnerable populations.
Militant? Well, I'll say. Fast forward to today, when we're seeing a disturbing uptick in politically motivated violence, mostly from the left. Abusive behavior, vile language, and in some cases, physical attacks are visited upon people for no other reason except for the fact that they're conservative supporters of the president. Just this week here in Washington, a Trump supporter announced a meetup of fellow activists at a Trump hotel. Then someone using an anonymous Twitter account with the handle DreamStarJustic responded with the image of a handgun and the message, "I'm coming with a gun and I expect to get numerous bloodstains, Make America Great Again hats as trophies." Though the account which supported the far-left Democratic Socialists has since been deleted, DC police and the FBI investigated the mass murder threat. Authorities are right to take these threats seriously. And over the weekend, a Republican congressional candidate in California, Rudy Peters, who will join us in just a moment, was in a booth at a fall festival when a man named Farzad Fazeli approached him. An angry Fazeli yelled profanities about President Trump and then rushed the Republican candidate. Fazeli pulled out a switchblade, which he meant to use on Peters. Well, the knife thankfully malfunctioned and the candidate fought back. Fazeli's been charged with a felony count of making deadly threats and other misdemeanors. Now, this all comes on the heels of a spate of vicious attacks over the summer, where Trump officials and Republicans were targeted in public places. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Pam Bondi, Homeland Security Chief Kirstjen Nielsen, and Stephen Miller were all set upon by activists.
As your deported, imprisoning tens of thousands of people to come here seeking asylum in the United States.
What would Mr. Rogers think about you when you're legally imported, taking away health insurance?
like Susan Collins are subject to abuse. Collins' office on Capitol Hill has been slammed by calls to vote against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
If you care at all about women's choice, vote no on Kavanaugh. Don't be dumb. If you vote for him, you are standing there reckless woman, standing there letting Trump and his appointees steal healthcare from millions of Americans, steal the right to choose what women do with their bodies, and you stood by that. Oh, I didn't know. I'm so naive. You.
My friends, the sad part is what you're listening to are our fellow Americans. These are low-class, brainless animals who don't know what civil comportment means. They can't live in a civil society, and so they, like people from the third world, are intent on dragging us down, threatening people with violence, committing acts of violence, screaming obscenities, confronting people in restaurants. Now, this is a problem that no one's talked about. The left is violent and stupid, and they need to be leashed. Now, I don't say that easily because as a journalist for almost 40 years, I'm a major proponent of free speech, but there's got to be a limit. They're verging on and verging over the line into violence. It can't be permitted. Those idiots standing in a restaurant screaming at Pam Bondi, they were not moved out of the restaurant. They were not arrested. They were allowed to scream. Why? We need to clamp down on people like that. Ignorant animals who are bringing us all down, threatening us with violence. We need to get tough with them. I mean tough. I mean arrest them and put them in jail for 10 years. It's the end of America if we don't. As it is, I chronicle on this show 4 days a week how the fabric of our society is coming apart. And this is Exhibit A. You want to do away with ICE? ICE keeps us safe. You want to do away with borders? America will become a third world hellhole. You want to do away with the tax cuts? The government will take much more of our money. These are the people, I've said it a bazillion times, I'll say it again. These are the people sitting with us in a rowboat drilling a hole in the bottom. Now you can try to convince them to put the drill away, and if they won't, well then you've got to take action. And that's the kind of action America needs to take. Abraham Lincoln broke some rules during the Civil War in order to keep this country together, and thank God he did. So we need to be free with our interpretation of some rules in order to keep our country together now, because it's being pulled apart just as it was in the 1860s. These leftist activists, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, they need to be clamped down on. So once again, we come to the fork in the road. Either we'll do what's necessary to survive, or we'll do what's easy. Well, the generations that came before us, they didn't do what was easy. They did what was hard. And now it's time to test our mettle and see if we have what it takes to survive. We'll take a break and we'll finish up for the week, my friends. 4 more minutes of real truth on the way.
Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in the persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the person or thing to be seized.
The Lord makes the counsel of the nations to nothing. He commands the people of everything. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation, whose God is the people
LLC produce our emergency first responders with a professional commitment and grace. They're willing to put their lives on the line for us as little or no thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chapel and Collins, LLC, with 2 locations in Denver and Fort Collins. Serving the community for over 13 years. Visit them online at chapelcollins.com. Total concrete online platforms. The men and women of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country. Their commitment and courage keep our country safe and strong. Let us honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Salute those who serve today. This reminder from Total Concrete Services at 4462 Hilltop Road in Honolulu. Proud to serve the entire area and to work on behalf of our future. For more information, call 970-535-4780.
Item from the Washington Examiner that recession-driven grimness hanging over the workplace has lifted, and now workers of all shades are feeling good about their future. A new survey provided to Secrets said that 72% of blue-collar workers and 76% of white-collar workers are optimistic about their future. Unquote. Thank you, President Trump, for making that a possibility, for making it a reality. But, my friends, throughout the state of Colorado and elsewhere, if you think life is too good, if you think the economy is too strong, if you think you've got too much money in your pocket, well then vote Democrat and they'll fix all those things. Item from the Sacramento Bee. Newly released federal estimates show California's poverty rate remained the highest in the nation. Despite a modest fall, the state's falling uninsured rate slowed for the first time since before Medicaid expansion. Unquote. California's poverty rate is the highest in America. California is the most liberal state in America. Anyone out there see a connection? Well, I know if you're a conservative, you do. I know if you're a Democrat, probably I need to use smaller words. Item from the Associated Press, Dateline, Detroit. Federal prosecutors have added 3 Illinois girls as victims in a criminal case against Detroit area doctors accused of female genital mutilation. The government is accusing Dr. Jumana Nagarwala of performing genital mutilation on 9 girls at a Livonia clinic. She denies any crime, says she performed a religious custom on girls from her Muslim sect, the Dawoodi Bohra. Unquote. My friends, we were talking about third world culture, horror being visited upon innocent people. I promise you, none of those 9 girls wanted what was done to them. That is Islam. Item from InfoWars. A Las Vegas professor reportedly shot himself in the arm on campus in protest of U.S. President Donald Trump. Unquote. My friends, I'm going to stake out a political position here. If there are Democrats out there who feel like shooting themselves because of Donald Trump, go right ahead. Just aim higher. Item from InfoWars. The driver in a dramatic car chase that ended on the runway of the French airport declared he was on a mission from Allah, police say. A high-speed pursuit that unfolded across multiple airports in Lyon, France, ended on the tarmac at Saint-Exupéry Airport, the city's main hub. Video footage depicts a Mercedes going airborne as it barreled towards the runway, with its driver eventually attempting an on-foot escape before being surrounded and arrested. Quote, "I have been sent by Allah," the driver said during the incident, according to police. Folks, there's just one little problem. Tiny, itsy-bitsy little problem. You know those Muslims who live in your city? They were also sent by Allah. They also read the Quran, the very same book that this moron is reading, which tells them to kill you and your family. They have nothing to be afraid of unless there are Muslims in your city. If there are, well, then you've got plenty to be afraid of. Buy Bridget Gabrielle's book. It's called Rise. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to read it. I'm going to get it back on the show. I've already started trying. It's time to defend America from all of our enemies, Muslims and liberals alike. And folks, if we don't defend this country, we're going to lose it. On that somber note, I will wish you a good weekend. I'll be back on Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay angry.